about renewable sources versus fossil fuels. Do you know why people talk about global warming and rising sea levels? It is because of the type of energy we use in our daily lives. The primary source of energy for many years have been the use of fossil fuels, which use limited natural resources of the earth. Some say that fossil fuels is killing our planet. There has been new research of a new source of energy that is said to be less harmful. This new energy is called renewable energy. Renewable energy can be reused again and again and in a sense is unlimited. That being said, some argue that renewable energy is better for us to use than fossil fuels. I'm here to argue that renewable energy is not worth the cost actually, and that fossil fuels is fine for now. Fossil fuels have been providing energy efficiently and effectively for many years, and to this day, they want to change the way we obtain energy by speeding up the process in which renewable energy becomes integrated. But there is no need to speed up the process of integrating renewable energy for these reasons. Number one, the present way on how we obtain energy is currently working and providing for our needs. Two, having to speed integration of a new type of energy into our already working system will cost too much money and time, or it will only hurt us, not benefit us. Three, renewable energy, although a good idea, will not fulfill the demand for the energy that we need today. Some may argue, again, that we rely heavily on fossil fuel for energy supply. The use of fossil fuel is harming the environment, yet fossil fuels is a necessity in order to provide energy because of the high demand that we have here in the US, which renewable energy cannot provide on its own. According to biotech researcher Jacqueline Longwood, fossil fuels currently provide more than 85% of all the energy consumed in the US, nearly 2/3 of our electricity, and virtually all of our transportation fuels. And according to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, in this present system, pollution is already kept to a minimum because the EPA proposed a standard reflecting the ongoing trend to build cleaner plants. This shows they're already trying to lower pollution, and there's no guarantee that pollution will stop after using renewable energy because the US isn't the only country using it. Moving on to my second claim, having to speed up integration of new energy will cost too much money. According to the Senate committee in charge of energy, renewable energy is a very difficult and expensive proposition, since it is very costly and has a higher production cost than fossil fuel energy. Money will have to be taken out from fossil fuels, and more costs will go towards the consumers through direct pricing on tax-borne subsidies. So basically, this will make the economy worse because fossil fuels prices will increase, which will divert consumer finances away from other sectors of the economy. It will also take too much time to integrate it because in order to make the energy, certain structures need to be built. My last claim, renewable energy will not fulfill the demand for energy we require today. Only way it can produce enough energy is if the structures that produce the energy are massively produced, making renewable energy not as reliable as fossil fuels for this reason. But even if the structures were massively produced, for the structures to be produced, we would need land, and for land to be obtained, we need to destruct the environment in some sort of way. In conclusion, although renewable energy is a start off to a good idea, it is not better than what we're using now.
So it felt like this was like what was done, because even if they could do it without, or like it compromises the budget, and that's a problem, right?
Yeah, that's my point.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Well, you identify the proposition. It's got two parts in it. That's a little bit problematic. There is a preview, but it comes after this long explanation of what's going on, so that was a little bit confusing. But once you get to the body of the speech, you do follow that preview structure, so that helps a little bit. And for the most part, they are phrased as declarative statements, so that helps as well. The evidence on the individual points, I think, is okay. On the first point, at least, you document that we are pretty dependent on these fossil fuel energies and that we are managing to get by with them with a minimal amount of negative impact on us. That was fine, although you mentioned some of the issues concerned with the environment, but the pollution issue that you talk about doesn't seem to be connected to any of those that are mentioned earlier as a potential problem with use of fossil fuels. The second point is you do cite a source, but it sounds like you've got this long run-on explanation that's coming from that source, which is very conclusionary. It doesn't provide us with any statistical information on that point. And although I think that in theory I understand the point that's being made, because the source is a little bit, I don't want to say ambiguous, but it's not as definitive as it could be, and like I said, because there's a lack of detail in it, it's a conclusionary statement, it's not particularly convincing. There's almost no evidence on the third point whatsoever, and I think that seems strange because you set it up like that was going to be one of the big arguments, and it's just a bunch of assertions at this point. So I think that argument needed to be developed a little bit more as well. You do an okay job presenting it, but it's a little, like I said, everything's a little bit underdeveloped. You've got a good structure. I understand the point that you're making. I think you need better evidence on the first and second points, and you need a lot more evidence on that third point. All right, thank you.